Okay, that worked. So, I believe the channel is live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Adventure on So Many Levels. We're playing Blade 68, baby, yeah.
Groovy.
Oh, so much.
Very fancy.
I am Christiana Ellis, and I am the game master for this campaign of Blades 68. And playing tonight, we have Mark Kilfoyle as Vesper Varden, aka Silhouette.
They'll never see me coming. Wait, that didn't come out right.
Jenny Meltzer as Pyretta Blaze, aka Red.
Hello.
Paul Fisher as Falwell Stoke, aka Crash.
Good evening.
So, this is our second proper session of Blades 68, and this is where we will display the other half of the gameplay cycle of this game. Like Blades in the Dark, Blades 68 is a game where you have a crew that goes on jobs or scores, and those are the exciting sort of action movie style adventure that we had in session 1, which we'll recap in a moment. And then before the next score, you have the downtime where you have some free play and you can kind of do whatever you want, and you do some downtime moves and recover and develop things, and then eventually you get to the point where you choose your next score. And so that's the half of the game that we will be playing this time, but there's still plenty of interesting things to go through. This is not the boring half of the game. But we had our first score for the intrepid scoundrels of inSPECTRE last session, and unfortunately things went awry immediately because you were betrayed. You'd been set up to take a pretty simple job where you were supposed to just be the go-between between the criminal gang known as the Keel Twins, led by a pair of identical twin gangster women, and deliver from them a briefcase to agents of Blackthorn Park, which is the intelligence agency of the United Skov continent, which is an enemy nation for the Akaros where you currently live. But it's a job. Unfortunately, there appears to have been a fly in the ointment in the form of a bomb that killed your contact with the Keel Twins, and sent a lot of alarm bells ringing. So where things stand right now is the remaining Keel Twin thinks you murdered her sister in a shocking betrayal for no reason. Blackthorn Park thinks that you blew the job and feels like they have to eliminate you because you're loose ends now, and they can't have people figuring out that they were involved. You beat up a whole bunch of bluecoats in the lobby of this building, and then you escaped, setting loose a basic, like a spectral ogre from another dimension on Section 6, which is a top secret government agency. So I hope you all feel pretty good about yourselves. But it's not really your fault. You were betrayed. It was a setup. And you discovered that the one thing that you came out of this debacle with was that briefcase, which when you opened, you found that it contained a lot of top secret technical documents for what looks like a rocket named Blue Raker 5. Did I miss anything?
I don't think so.
Okay. So now, what we need to do to begin each proper session is the opening titles. So just like this was a TV show, we need to choose the song that plays over the opening titles, and then we will have some alternating shots for what would appear in the opening credits of this TV show. So I know we talked about a couple of different options for the song, but does anyone want to just go ahead and choose one? We can change it or not later as we choose, but we just have to pick one for right now.
The one that's going through my head is Yummy, 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 because my character's stress relief is eating.
Well, but so like I don't mind that choice, but we probably don't want to be picking a song just based on a thing specific to one of the three characters.
True, but
I mean,
my personal
if
fixation.
everybody likes it, then sure.
I
But
I'm still partial to the magic carpet.
yeah, Magic Carpet
Magic
Ride.
Magic Carpet Ride is
Yeah.
still pretty awesome.
Magic Carpet Ride. Okay, so if everyone is in agreement, we could pick another one next time if we want. But so imagine then that the strains of Magic Carpet Ride by Steppenwolf are playing over this montage of shots. And so, who would like to be the first to narrate for us just a very brief moment, even a single shot maybe, that just shows your character doing something notable or interesting that sort of exemplifies their character, who they are?
I'll go first. I think like my intro in this one, like in this opening scene, would be like the end of the last session when I was like summoning that big giant
Mm-hmm.
monstrous thing to come and get us. So it's just a shot of her standing there looking all like super hot and ridiculous at the same time while she's like holding up her hands, and then you see in the background like this monstrous creature come walking towards her.
Very cool, very cool. And so we cut from that to a shot in the VIP lounge of a fancy nightclub where we see Vestine Keel, who looks very familiar because she's the identical twin of the contact who died last time. And she is screaming with rage as she hurls a liquor bottle at the wall. Who would like to be the next player shot?
Yeah, I can jump in. The angle goes from a high shot above buildings and kind of zooms in. I love drone shots these days, so I'm not
Mm-hmm.
surprised it would start with that. But it goes in, and you see a figure in a dark coat standing at the edge of an alley. The camera pans in such a way where you can see the edge of the brick there and them standing, talking, receiving something. He turns, you see a silhouette. He goes, puts his fingers to his lips, shh, turns and vanishes into a shade of cloud and reappears down the street somewhere.
Nice, nice. And then from there, we cut to a strange ghostly figure who is holding the remnants of what looks like a destroyed sniper rifle and then clenching a fist in anger. And so, last but not least,
Last but not least, you see Crash looking extremely dapper, falling, whipping out his grappling pistol, firing it up, and then the line going taut and him going right in through an open window.
nice, nice. And so from there, we cut to an airship shot. Funny, we were thinking similarly along those lines, Mark. But yes, we have an airship shot that is passing over the city, first showing the dark buildings of the old city, and then passing over the river and seeing the utopian, luxurious, planned communities of the Radiance District. And then over the utilitarian squalor of the Dunslow housing estate, but then giving it way at last to an enormous, deep crater, mined out like a quarry, but then featuring a windowless fortified building at the bottom, at which point the video starts to distort and the lens cracks before cutting to black. And then, inSPECTRE, Blade 68, what is your group pose? You're doing body language things, but there might be people who are only in audio. So
I'm facing one way, holding a complicated looking piece of equipment, and got my pipe in my mouth and my tweed jacket with the patches on. So who's in the center? Is that you, Red?
Yeah, I'll be in the center, just standing there, sort of all like with my arm cast to the side dramatically, and my hair blowing in the wind.
And Silhouette off to one side with a clipboard working on the next score.
Nice, nice. Lovely. So, that's the opening credits.
Shadow across half of his face.
Yeah. So, one thing that might normally be something that we would do, or basically it comes after you finish a job. And so we could always do it like this on the next, starting the next session after a score, or it could be something we do right after the score. But it's a little bit like the end of session moves where we calculated what sort of personal XP you all got, because there's crew XP as well in the form of rep. So let's talk about your rep from that last job. You are going to gain 2 rep for completing the job, even though it was not completed in the traditional success, partly because you didn't have an opportunity for it to be a success because it was a setup. So you successfully survived. So you get 2 rep just for that. I am also, because your target in this case, I'm saying the target is the Keel twins, even though that's a little bit complicated because it's partly, the rep is about like, what do other people think about you, right? And so what people think right now is that you assassinated one of the Keel twins. So the Keel twins are 2 tiers above you, and so you're going to get another +2 rep. And then you also contended with challenges above your current situation. That is all that, so that right there, you're already at 5. So from there, there's a question of your crew's initial reputation is eccentric. So did you bolster your crew's reputation? I'm thinking that you did you get at least 1 for that, in the sense of nobody thought you were going to do what you did. Either what you really did or what they think you did. But does anyone think that there's more than one place where you really would have done that in a meaningfully distinct way?
And this is for the, what was it?
Yeah. So if you're looking at your crew sheet here, at the bottom, in the same place where you have the XP triggers for your character, there's marking XP. The end of each session, for each item below, you mark 1 XP. And so, for example, a successful surveillance, heist, subterfuge, or cleanup operation, contend with challenges above your current situation, bolster your crew's reputation or develop a new one, express the goals, drives, inner conflict, or essential nature of the crew. So what I've said is I'm already giving you the job, that you contended with challenges above your your current situation. So what I'm asking is, tell me how many times you think you bolstered your crew's reputation of being eccentric.
I did it at least twice, personally.
Well, so because you're already getting 1, I want this to be kind of like a specific, like a crew rep thing, as opposed to your personal trigger. See what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I mean, I acted eccentrically, on behalf of the crew.
I agree, but what I want to try to draw a line between is you acting eccentric as an individual versus what people who think about your crew would think as the crew being eccentric, right? So that's not to say that there's no overlap at all, but I want to just try to have us be thinking about it from that perspective, because you also get character XP for being eccentric if that's one of your keys, right?
I got to think that people are going to be talking about who plans to fly out a window with a grappling hook, because that's not something you carry as a standard kit. Well, most people don't, but we're weird.
Who hides a body inside of weird bench covered with pillows.
Well, so here's an interesting nuance of this system is that there is literally a balance of rep and heat, right? You can't get rep for something that nobody knows you did.
Mm.
But if you get in and out secretly and don't get caught doing stuff, then you don't get heat. So that's kind of the balance of the mechanic here.
Gotcha.
So, like some of that can happen, but like let's not overdraw this out, right? Because you're getting a fair amount of rep right away. So let's not, like try to scour the episode looking for one more example. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I'm giving you one already just for a lot of chaos and surprise. But what about expressing the goals, drives, inner conflict, or essential nature of the crew?
Don't know if we're quite there yet. And these are XP, right? Not rep.
Well, so this is okay. It's all so rep is okay. I will confess I'm suddenly a little bit confused by that because I think rep also says a lot of the same things. So I'm just suddenly second guessing whether I am misattributing rep versus XP. Right. Okay. So XP, you're right. XP is for getting crew advancements. Rep is for increasing tier, which is different. Okay. So you're correct that for XP, we'll start with saying you got the okay. I planned this all out and I thought I had it all set, but you are correct. So you mark 1 for successful surveillance, heist, or subterfuge or cleanup operation. 1, I'll say 2 for challenges above your current station. 1 for bolstering your crew's reputation, and so that is 1, 2, 3, 4
Okay.
for XP versus as opposed to rep, right? So
Okay.
XP is down there at that marking XP track. Then above the little map is the rep thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so reputation is so reputation, you completed a score, you get 2 rep. The target of the score was higher tier, and that's 4. So you have a total of 4. And then that's it for rep. So that's where I was confusing the 2. Okay, so yes, you have 4 rep. All right. So, we're learning these systems. I think it'll start becoming second nature as we do more cycles of them. So payout would also be something we would resolve at this time. However, right now, there is no payout because the job didn't get completed in the traditional way. However, you do have the briefcase. So theoretically, you could try to deliver it to the original client or sell it to someone else, and you could potentially get a payout that way. But that hasn't happened yet, so you don't have a payout otherwise. But that also means that you don't owe the tithe yet because tithe comes from payout. So if you do sell the briefcase and get money for it, you will owe the tithe. But now heat. Heat is a reflection of how much attention you've gotten from people who would seek to stop you from doing the kinds of things you like to do, like the Bluecoats or the government or other criminal factions. So heat, I'm suggesting we start with 4 heat as a loud and chaotic high exposure situation. You literally had 2 of you physically beating up Bluecoats in a building, right? And that's on top of there being a big explosion and Section 6 showing up and so on, right? So I think that because there was also killing involved, doesn't mean you did it. It just means that a killing happened during the case. So that would be another +2. And there was explosives, and so that's another 1. And so I'm saying you have 7 heat, which is, not quite enough to raise your wanted level, but it's close.
What about the profile of the target in this case? Because she was the leader of one of the gangs, right?
Yeah.
The one that got killed.
Yeah. That's part of where I'm going to adjudicate that a couple of different ways. So for
Okay.
one, the killing and the explosives and starting from 4, that's all factoring in. But then also there's specific reputation with individual factions, which we'll cover next. So heat is something that the can potentially generate complications when we do the trouble engine in a moment. The more heat, the more attention that's focused on all of you. And so it's something you might want to try to resolve. When you would generate enough heat, it can raise your wanted level, which further escalates any potential complications. And the only way to reduce the wanted level is to have someone get arrested. It doesn't have to be a player character. It could potentially be one of your cohorts, but there's complications with that too. So certainly trying to reduce the heat without it going above the wanted level is potentially desirable. So next, faction board. Let me show the Roll20 here because we've got a little faction table. So you'll notice that we started this last session with, you had some positive reputation with the Lounge Rats and the Dirt Barons, and some negative with Strangeford Michter Financial, right? But now I've added some because I've added the ones that I think are potentially impacted by what has all happened here. So for one, I'm going to say the Keel twins are now at a -2 because they think you killed one of their leaders, and it would only -3 means war, and the only reason that it's not there yet is that they don't know why. Because you didn't seem to make a move otherwise. It seems like it was just an assassination. And so they're just enough hesitation that they're not just outright declaring war on you. Likewise, but it also, the Keel twins were strong in their tier 2. Now they're weak because one of their leaders has been killed. And then, let's see. And now because that gang thinks you did that, they're talking about it. And so that means that I'm going to give +1 reputation to all of their enemies, which includes the fighting goats. I need to move my windows around so I can do this properly. The fighting goats. Strangeford Michter Financial will get back to neutral because they don't like the Keel twins either. Inspectors. Imperial Military. And City Council and Limmerfield Gang are all the enemies of the Keel twins. And so when they hear you hurt the Keel twins, they like that. But the allies of the Keel twins include D13, the Inklane Tabloids, Scorpion Syndicate, Tomorrow Program, the Silver Echoes, which is a musical band that has a huge following, and the Citizens of the Crowfoot District. And Blackthorn Park also, you're going to lose 1 status there because they think you blew the job.
So to be clear, We were a courier job between the Keel Twins and Blackthorn Park, right?
Yes. So what your job was supposed to be is Blackthorn Park, which is a foreign intelligence agency, wanted to get this briefcase that the Keel Twins had, and you don't know how the Keel Twins got it, but they were trying to have layers of go-between in order to protect their involvement, right? They were trying
Mm-hmm.
to shield that it's them trying to get the briefcase, right? So that's the idea. And so unlike the Keel Twins, Blackthorn Park is not telling anybody about it. So they have reduced your status with them, but their enemies and allies are not changing because they are keeping that secret. Does that make sense?
Yep.
That's why I'm trying to I'm covering some of this because I do want to highlight the ins and outs of who knows what and what it means for one group to know something versus another group not knowing it, and so on. Yes. Okay. And I will also say, without marking it on the faction board, that there is another faction that has changed its impression of you, but it's a secret because you don't know who they are yet. Okay. So all of this will come into play because the different levels of status you have with each of these is going to come into play when you're talking about accepting new scores, right? Because if someone, let's say the lounge rats who like you, wanted you to take on a job to steal something from the Scorpion Syndicate, right? You would have to weigh the idea of increasing your reputation with the lounge rats in order to, but risking decreasing your reputation with the Scorpion Syndicate, right? So that's and some of these things can cause additional complications as well. And so that's why we look at all of this and track the status of each. Now that we've talked about factions, it's time to look at harm complications. So this is something where each of you, let's see, where's there we go. So harm complications this is the flip side of having the different complications on, so when you took harm during the actual score, right? We only handled it narratively and not mechanically. But that's because the complications can come into play here. So I believe we had Falwell end up with 2 level 1 harms, and Pyretta had 1 level 1 and 1 level 2, and then Vesper didn't end up having any harms. Is that correct?
Yep.
So the way that this works is, so Falwell with 2 level 1 harms, you're going to roll 2d6 on the level 1 harm complication table, which is on page 192 of the book. So if you want to just roll 2d6 for me, we will see what sorts of complications you might have as a result of the harm you took.
I got an 11.
Okay, well, this is a case of the highest result, of course, not the total, but highest result of 6 is actually bad in this regard, because more dice, right, is, yeah. So in this case, what 6 means is that you are fatigued as a result of the harm you took. Your character has -1 load available to them on the next score. So whether you go quiet or loud, you have 1 less load box than usual. And you have to just, mark that. I don't think there's, a box to check on the sheet. I don't know if there is or not, but please try to track that. I will try to help you remember as well, but that's how that works.
Okay.
So for Pyretta, because you have 1 level 1, that's 1d6, and then a level 2, that would be 2d6 for that. So you're going to roll 3d6, but on the level 2 harm complications table, because your highest level of harm is a level 2. Okay, you also got a 6. condition worsens, take an additional level 1 harm. So what your condition of your arm being shot, if it's worsening, what's the additional level 1 harm do you think you've got here?
I think maybe it's getting a little infected.
Oh no, okay. You're feeling a little sick?
No choice. We
Yeah.
have to cut it
I mean,
off
I
now.
already have a headache, but
Yeah.
this is like now I'm feeling it's like a little warm.
Right, okay. Feverish, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so the good news is that when we do healing, all level 1 harms can be cleared as far as a recover downtime activity. But just for future reference, if, for example, you had 2 level 1 harms like Falwell did, taking an additional level 1 harm would mean you have to take a level 2 harm because you don't have any level 1 spots open. Okay, so those are the harm complications. Now we unwind. So the final step of the gameplay cycle is to unwind together before the crew returns to personal business. A different player decides how the crew unwinds at the end of each aftermath. So you all need to decide which one of you picks it for this score. But what is something the crew does together to blow off steam after that score, before you would just like go back to the base and resume normal business? And there are some tables here on page 194 that you could use as inspiration, or we could roll on them if you wanted. But I would encourage you to have your character think about what they would want to do.
Oh, thinking we could go dancing. Is that one of those things that's...
I mean, certainly, yeah. So, like, it doesn't have to be on the table. Like, that can absolutely be what it is. You go dancing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Disco dancing.
Yeah. So I think we could perhaps, imagine. Would this be? Do you think you would go try to find a club in Silkshore, or where would you want to specifically be doing it somewhere away from your home neighborhood?
That's probably for the best.
Okay.
Yep.
So I would encourage us to make this a scene. It doesn't necessarily have to be full role played, although I would encourage you to do that if you're interested. But like, what does this look like if for this crew, you're still beat up a little bit, but you got to get the that chaos adrenaline energy out. Falwell, so was this your idea? Do you take the crew dancing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where do you take them? And again, we're making something up here, right? So
Okay.
we can look for some of the nightclubs that exist in the world if we want, or you can just make one up. That would be totally okay too.
I'm gonna say that we are going to go to night market, and that there is a club not far from the big rail station there that's like in a gutted old abandoned power station
Mm-hmm.
that some people have managed to, get it all sealed up and blacked out, and they light it up, and everybody rocks out.
All right, cool. What's it called?
The underground.
All right.
Oh, no, the power station.
The power station. All right. Okay, cool. So this club how do each of you how do you do your thing at this club? How do you each of you deal with this dancing outing?
I cut it down. Like, I look amazing out there just dancing like I'm Professor Trelawney. Like, I don't even care who's watching.
Yeah? Are you a good dancer, or do you just not even care?
Um, I think I'm a good dancer. I don't know what other people think because I don't care. So,
All right.
I think I'm pretty awesome. So,
Yeah. How about Vesper? Do you dance?
Yeah, my visual inspiration for this, and I realized is part of the character too, is Crispin Glover at his weirdest. So he's wearing a super dark black turtleneck with a silver chain that's very ostentatious. He's taken black paint and smeared 2 lines under each eye, a little bit of glittery eyeshadow above just to confuse people. And when he moves to the dance floor, he moves in a weird fluid kind of way that's fluid in the same way that an icy drink is fluid, in that it's full of kind of jerks and stumbles, but they all feel like they might be deliberate or not. Nobody's quite sure exactly. And everything is slightly off the beat, like he's listening to his own song as he moves through the crowd. He's never actually dancing with anyone in particular, but he
Mm-hmm.
pauses with people as he goes through the crowd as if he's dancing with them. And then, just like as if he looks beyond them, suddenly he's not dancing with them, but the other might still think he is as he
Mm-hmm.
drifts off in another direction.
You're leaving a comet trail of a lot of confused people
Very much
as you
so.
move through
Very
the
much
dance
so.
floor. Like, wait, was he? I
Crispin
thought he
Glover
was.
crossed with
Yeah.
Steve Jobs. It's weird in my mind.
Wow. All right. How about Falwell? Professor
Falwell
Stoke.
is looking professorial
Mm-hmm.
as always. He's a very good dancer, um, and he finds a woman or two on the dance floor and insinuates himself into her orbit
Mm-hmm.
and just tries to enjoy himself dancing, and all he's interested in is just having a good time.
All right. Nice. Are folks imbibing or partaking otherwise of you know
I
substances?
like to imagine that Red carries around like a little flask, so she's
Mm-hmm.
always imbibing.
Yeah.
Always.
Even though everybody swears he must be drunk, Vesper doesn't test a drop.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Falwell is going to always know what the latest, hottest cocktail is and get one for himself and whoever he's dancing with.
Mm-hmm. Nice. So, are you keeping an eye on each other? Because, or is this a group outing? Are you a crew on the dance floor, or are you just kind of like you all came here, you are each other's, you're planning? Are you planning to leave together, or is this just kind of like everyone hang out until you're ready to go? We'll meet back at wherever.
I have a car to pick up, so.
Well, we're gonna deal with that.
And return.
Hmm.
Yeah, I feel like Vesper's there longer than most
Mm-hmm.
and kind of has lost track of time and not really paying attention to the rest.
Is this a place that you've all been before?
I would say so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so.
Like enough that you would know someone there?
We might know one of the bartenders.
Mm-hmm.
We probably do see some regulars as well that are on the dance floor. So
Sure. Do we want to invent an NPC?
There's a bartender who's like 6'6", heavily muscled, wears flannel, looks like he's a lumberjack. He's got um, suspenders. Um,
And he has to have like a really, really like pretentious name. Like he's almost like a college professor type guy. Like he's really smart.
hmm.
Mhm.
Secretly, why is he even here? Like he seems like he could do something more than 10 bar.
Mm.
he's an anthropology professor.
Yes.
Doing his PhD thesis on the
Fake ID.
no, on the people that come into this club.
Well, so I was going to ask is like working this, is this like research as part of his actual thing, or is this like what he does to blow off steam? Like, is this a side gig?
I kind of imagine that he has a book that he keeps taking notes in, and
Mhm.
there's running bets as to what the book actually is.
Okay.
Whether he's writing a novel, whether he's writing a thesis, whether he's just writing his own diary, whether he's doing crossword puzzles.
Nobody knows.
Mhm. And so we need his name. Bartholomew.
Gerald D. Ruttenbridge the fourth.
Wow.
I like it.
Everybody just calls him Rut.
Nice. Great. Okay. So Rut is a bartender that you have you've seen enough to know by sight, and he knows you. But it sounds like it's still primarily like a professional relationship in that way. You know what I mean? Like he is the bartender at the club you go to sometimes, as opposed to something more than that. All right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for now.
Cool, cool, cool. So, um, sounds like probably wouldn't be a whole lot of conversations unless any of you feel like you would want to be having some sort of a discussion in a moment of quiet. You know, like sometimes at a dance club, you have those moments where you go out to get a breath of fresh air and you hear the music thumping through the wall, but in the night air.
Hmm.
You're out there smoking.
I'm always smoking, baby.
So, just like I said, for future reference, what I would say is you don't ever have to have like a role play scene for any of these activities, but anytime you want to have one, that is always an option. So please, if there's ever anything you feel like, oh, I would want my character to talk to so and so in this scene, we can
I do feel
always
like
do
we
that.
need I do feel like we need to talk about the fact that we got duped
Yeah, probably.
because this is pretty messed up.
Well,
Somebody's
so
dead.
we are now with this unwind scene entering free play. And what free play means is that you all can do whatever you want at any pace that you want. Some types of activities are classified as downtime activities, and you have a limited number of those that you can do for free, right? But otherwise, there's no other pressure to follow a specific rule. And so you can do things in whatever order you want. So we'll talk about that. So that means if you feel like you would wait to have that conversation until you're back at the lair, or if you wanted to have it here, all of these are options available to all of you. And so we are now basically with this scene entering free play. You can do what you want.
Um, I'm gonna like unwind a little bit
Mm-hmm.
and then uh like I want to use my wrench skill to and my anatomist to try and do healing? Is that
Okay, well,
something?
so yes, but just so a moment. So I guess as I mentioned, free play, this phase can include the various downtime actions, including indulge vice, long-term project, recover, reduce heat, acquire asset, training montage. Right? Each of you
Mhm.
can do 2 downtime actions, and then you can pay stacks, which is money, or I think it's you can pay, or I think you can pay rep also for that, for more, to get more activities. So you have a limited number of those things that you can do during this free play phase, but you can also do them in whichever order that you want. And the reason that I'm bringing that up right now is that you can your anatomist skill as the intellectual does give
Mhm.
everybody else a +1D for recover moves, but it's harder to do it on yourself. So, for
Mm.
example, for you to do it on yourself costs you 2 stress.
So I probably want to do stress relief first.
Right. So that's kind of what I wanted to get to. But for example, also, if you were going to say, we need to get rid of this briefcase, let's find someone who will buy it from us. If you did that, then you might also have money, and that would play into other decisions you might make, right? So this is why it
Mm-hmm.
might matter. You might decide to do things in a certain order, right? So I'm going to basically say you are free to do what you like. You have a limited number of these specific things that you can do, but you can all do them in any order that you want. The various bits of business that you'll probably want to deal with, of course, the briefcase. What are you going to do with the briefcase? I will offer that if you had your preliminary look at it, but they're very technical documents. If you wanted to really study them and try to learn, everything you can from them, that would be a
Mm-hmm.
long-term project, which is a downtime move. But you could do that. You could also, you also had Slade, one of your cohorts, take the Goodrich's car off to get fixed, but how are you paying for that? So I would offer that you could, for example, pay 1 stack. I think you have 1 stack. You could pay that 1 stack to fix the car, and then it's just done with. Or if you felt like you wanted to try to negotiate that somehow, maybe you're paying them with a favor, you're doing something else like that. If you want to resolve it in some other way other than just paying a stack, that's also an option, but that's something you probably want to resolve one way or the other.
Right.
Also, Lloyd was weakened as a cohort last time, but that will, as you do downtime, he will automatically heal that 1 level
Okay.
of harm that he took. So we're still having everybody dance at the club, but you've been dancing long enough that your brain is starting to think about some of the other things you might need to get up to. So, and that can include conversations that can happen before, during, or after any of these other conversations. But for example, indulge vice, which is what you can do to remove stress, is one of the downtime actions of which you have to.
And I think from my reading, unwind also reduces 1 stress for everybody.
It can. I don't think it does automatically.
It removes harm if you have the quarters base upgrades, but
Right. I just had this
194.
194. Oh, yes, you are absolutely right. I was thinking of the clear level 1 harm, but yes, you all clear 1 stress from the unwind scene,
All right.
which is good because all of you had a fair amount of stress.
Is there an easy way on the sheet just to remove 1 stress?
Click 1 to the left
No.
of it.
Ah, thank you. I hit the X and everything disappeared. And I was like, that's
Yeah,
not
me
Yeah,
what to
too.
do.
I think it wants you to click the one that you want to be the highest on the track.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Hmm.
Okay.
So,
Well, I think there is a sweat break between
hmm.
sets at some point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Syl will gather the crew kind of outside. He's got a tall glass of something that looks like iced tea, but you're pretty sure it's non-alcoholic. It is slightly green and a little bit of gold shimmer in there, so you're not sure if you had something specific made by Rut or not. But kind of in a quiet spot. I would imagine there's little pockets of places outside where
Oh,
people
sure. Yeah.
gather out of the wind or whatever to smoke and talk.
Yeah. This was it's like a reclaimed power station. So I'm sure there's a lot of like concrete like outbuildings and little nooks out of the wind and so on.
It's probably got a wild, like curved look to the power station where they
Mm.
probably had turbines in there that were long since removed.
Mm-hmm.
So that was fun. And I don't mean the dancing. That was fine, but there's a question before us. Is it better to be rich or better to be well liked? Personally, rich is kind of nice.
I like Rich.
No, I really like it when people like me,
I
but
guess the other way to see it is that
money
would you
is
rather
good too.
someone want to kill you or want to steal from you?
Where are
Like,
you going with all of this?
yeah,
We've got something very hot right now, and I
Mm.
think it can be an opportunity. It can also be a liability. I don't know what happened. I'm kind of curious as to what happened. Finding out what happened could make someone very happy or
Well,
someone very upset. Or
I
just trying
get.
to wash our hands of the whole thing might get us some money, but nobody would be happier.
I
I
kind
would.
of get the feeling that we were set up.
You think?
Maybe.
Yeah,
Question
that was the first thing that went through my mind as I was exiting the penthouse window.
I mean,
I,
lots of things are probably going through your mind. Good thing the cement wasn't one of them.
or the glass.
Well, we know
Glass.
who it wasn't who set us up. That's the one good thing. We know, unless she was really sick of her sister, which I don't think she was. I'm pretty sure it's not the Keel twins.
I guess you start by eliminating suspects, as it were.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, the Keel twin, um, to update their moniker or her moniker.
I think just
Yeah,
a solo
She
probably
could
keel.
just
not.
be the Keel.
Yeah, Mrs.
Yeah,
Keel
one was
or
killed, the
Ms.
other
Keel.
keeled.
You
Yep.
Yeah,
keeled me.
The thing is, question is, as much as we think we're important hot shit, we're not really. Not yet. We're gonna get there someday. Someday people will know our name and then they'll be happy about it. But until that happens, we're a bunch of nobodies on our way up. So were we set up or were they set up? And we just happened to be the vehicle used. We were the drive-by of the shooting, but not the actual shooter.
I don't know. I mean,
Oh,
it was set up for us to take all of the heat. I mean, Section 6 was there. The Bluecoats were there. And they were
Well,
there instantly.
I mean,
well, I mean,
that's a
there
neighborhood
was a
thing.
body.
Somebody called Section 6, the Bluecoats, and had them on standby. They had numbers ready to go, and they were waiting for that explosion. They don't show up
So,
in 30 seconds of an explosion anywhere with that many numbers ready to go into a building.
so do you think they were supposed to walk away with a box?
I
Doesn't
think they
seem
were
like they.
supposed to get us and the briefcase.
Well, I don't think they want us. I think they just want the briefcase.
Well, no. My point is, whoever set us up wanted the. I'm guessing they wanted the blue coats to get the briefcase or Section 6.
I mean, it wouldn't do much good to Section 6. They don't really specialize in that. The blue coats don't really either. Neither one would want the briefcase all that much to be setting something up. If they
maybe
were called in and tipped off, how are they planning to get the briefcase later? See, what I don't like about that is I don't personally like being set up, even if I wasn't the target. And I kind of want to use that dirt against whoever did it. But I don't think it's the blue cloaks, and I don't think it's the Section 6.
I'm not saying it
No.
was them that set us up. I think whoever set us up made sure to get Section 6 and the blue coats ready to go.
Section 6 only comes when there's, a death, right?
Yeah.
So it's you probably would know, like Section 6 is relatively secret. Certainly I mean, like, their existence is not secret. Most people would know that they are the ones that are responsible for the disposal of the dead. However, their task also includes enforcing reality constancy law, investigating anomalies, and unlicensed paranormal experimentation. So, for example, they do come and collect the body when someone dies, but also if there is a resonance echo or an aberration of some kind that's causing trouble, Section 6 also handles that.
Which brings me to the other outside source of all this. The other person or thing or whatever, I'm saying person because persons usually are the ones using guns, was there to make more bodies, was there to make more trouble, was maybe there to collect the case and didn't think anybody would survive flying out the window.
Well, I mean, isn't it kind of anomalous that the case survived the explosion? I mean, it's just a case, right?
Just
It's
a
not.
briefcase, yeah.
Yeah, it's not
At least that's
explosion
what it
proof.
looks like. If I were going to hide a super crazy thing that could survive explosions, I'd make it look like a briefcase too. Maybe I already have.
Well, also, Falwell was holding the briefcase and he survived. It's not like the briefcase was what blew up.
Well, it was the safe that blew up, right? Which contained
Yes,
the
but
briefcase?
so the briefcase was taken out of the safe, handed to Falwell, and then the safe blew up.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Falwell was blown out of the window holding the briefcase.
Yeah.
Still.
So
Maybe
it could
didn't
either be everything was supposed to blow up, or they were specifically after the Keel twins, and we're just the scapegoat.
I mean, how many others would get at that safe?
I think we need to keep this case. I think we need to look into it, do some research on it, find out what it's really for.
Who needs a rocket anyway?
I mean, who knows?
I would love a rocket.
What would you do with a rocket, Crash? You would just what?
Crash it.
Find higher places to fall from?
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah. I was joking, but apparently you're not.
Oh. Well, man.
Have you ever gone skydiving, or what I usually call semi-controlled falling?
I think he does all the time. It's just called crashing.
Maybe.
Yeah.
That's why he always carries that grappling hook around.
I mean, that's what I was doing tonight, really. Skydiving.
So, I mean, we could sell the case. We could make some money. But I think we need to look deeper into it. Find
And
out what the purpose is for, who really wants it.
I suppose I could have Franny start studying it. Do some research on it.
It'd be good to know even who made it. I mean, it might be right there in the blueprints. We only took a quick look before we stashed it.
Mm-hmm.
And then tried to look normal by dancing.
Well, I mean, that's what you do, right?
Yeah. Blow up some
Dance.
steam before you do anything else.
Mhm.
After you've been almost blown up.
Some of us were blown up.
You weren't blown up. You're fine.
I was blown
got
out
shot.
a window.
You weren't
I
the
got
only
shot.
one in the room.
So did I.
I got shot in the arm.
So did I. Right here in the ribs.
Just because
Well,
both of you aren't good at dodging bullets doesn't mean we want to fight here.
I was standing in the street. It was a sniper.
Yeah. Do you think it targeted you, or you just happened to
Yes.
be there?
I think it was specifically targeting me because I was trying to draw attention to myself to get you two out of trouble.
Hmm.
Next thing you know, I'm bleeding from my arm. There's a bullet lodged in there,
But did it think
and
you
it's
were a
chaos.
bystander, or did it
No.
know who you were?
The fact that we got chased by a weird specter after that,
Well, that might be
holding a
good with
kind
sniper
of,
sauce.
rifle.
It might
yeah,
have.
it kind of makes me think they're after us.
I mean, if it saw the briefcase.
I didn't
So,
have the briefcase though.
No, but
Christiana,
afterwards.
Mhm.
do we know about Agent 2?
You've heard that Agent 2 is one of the Blackthorn Park, um, you know, secret guys, and so I think you had a contact with, um, I I'm I I have her name. It was a different contact with Blackthorn Park, but I believe you saw Agent 2 like during that meeting. Like I said,
Mm-hmm.
you were talking to the other woman, but you had the impression that they were partners.
Oh,
Like
Agent
she's the
36.
one that talks to people and he's the one that does the other
Shoots
thing.
them
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
from the top of buildings.
Yeah, so you are pretty sure that the ghost that was following you was an agent of Blackthorn Park, or at least he is an agent of Blackthorn Park, regardless of whether he was acting in their behalf in that particular moment. But I think right now, with the acknowledgement that there's a lot of confusing things going on, you don't fully know what's happening. The simplest explanation is that they hired you to do something, it went terribly wrong, and their biggest priority was to not be traced back to what happened. And so probably they were trying to kill you because you were the ones that knew they were involved.
Yeah.
I thought they were trying to kill us with briefcase.
Well, they also did want the briefcase.
Two
Yeah.
birds, one bullet.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, in theory, we could probably get a boatload of cash from them if we
Yeah.
sold it to them, but I think we need to figure
To
it out.
complete the job? Yeah. Well, that would certainly get the heat from Blackthorn Park off of us if we. I mean, at this point, they owe us extra money for shooting at us.
Were we to be paid by the Keel twins or Blackthorn?
Blackthorn.
Okay.
You were to retrieve the briefcase and return it to them, and then you'd be paid.
Okay. It's still an option, although they did try to shoot us, probably.
Yeah.
And they would probably try to shoot us again.
Are
Because
they
we
the
know
ones who blew up the Keel girl?
Why, if they wanted the briefcase so bad, why would they blow up the safe, kill the Keel twin, and bring all that heat down on us?
that might have been somebody else who didn't like the Keel twins. Bad
Well,
timing.
and that's a possibility, but it seems like someone wanted to interrupt that handoff of that briefcase, and my guess is that they wanted to be they expected that at the end of all of that chaos they would be the ones walking out with the briefcase and we would take the fall.
Yeah. Based on even just your preliminary assessment of those documents, this is not like a little, like a model rocket a kid does in his backyard. This is like a big deal. There would almost certainly be many, many interested parties.
And while we might get paid when we deliver the package, you better believe that's not the cost of this package.
That's
What
what I'm
was the
saying.
cost? What was Keel gonna get out of this? And is now not gonna get.
Well, so right before the bomb went off, she was like mocking us and saying we didn't even know who the real client was. Like Blackthorn Park wasn't the real client.
Another
You know, she
middleman?
said, you don't even know who you're working for.
Okay.
So
So it's a handoff to a handoff?
I, I don't know. I mean, I would think that Blackthorn Park would want to have this briefcase, you know, and what's in it. It
Well,
would,
there's obviously someone, a bigger player than
well, there's another
Blackthorn
player that's
and
pretty
Keel
darn big.
twins.
Yeah. Bigger than the Keel twins, definitely bigger than us.
Oh, everybody's bigger than us right now.
That's a good point.
I mean, if we want to know more about this thing, we're going to have to figure out who we can find who can learn more about it, because I kind of want to know what it's used for. Again, aside from launching Crash into orbit, is this something that a nation's going to take out another whole of another nation, or?
This is the kind of rocket that can put you into orbit, which means it can deliver a payload to your friend or your enemy. And
Right.
if you wanted to put a bomb, a really big bomb at the top of this rocket, you could drop it on your enemy's city and it would literally fall from the sky.
So we know this, and we're a pack of idiots. The Keels must have known this too, as does the Blackthorn. So part of the
And
question
whoever
is,
else is.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but part of the question is, who is Keel thinking this is going to be used on? Who does Blackthorn either want to use it themselves on, or who do they want to pass it on where they wouldn't mind it being used on one of their enemies? The enemy of my enemy is also my courier, or something like that.
Well, Blackthorn is going to want to keep their side, competitive to our side.
Sort
So,
of a stalemate. Don't
yeah,
shoot me
sort
because
of.
I'll shoot you.
Right. I'll fire my missiles if you fire your missiles, kind of thing.
Well, the only people who are going to have that capability right now are us, because we're not going to give that up right now.
Well,
Yeah,
that's the
but
thing.
we're holding a copy of the plans. So,
Yeah,
I
are
mean,
we? I
But if
mean, we
it's the
want to
only
see
plan,
if they're copies or they're originals, and who made them. Because something tells me the Keels didn't come up with this.
oh
Somebody
oh
no.
built
God,
this
no.
for a purpose.
They're
And
not very smart.
they also might want them back, which would be
Now,
another source of
the
funds.
Keels probably either bought them off someone or stole them.
I was going to say they probably stole them.
Yeah. Okay. Now that we worked all
So,
that out, let's go back to dancing.
So, probably for some of these bigger things, things like gather information roles can start to be part of the free play where you can start looking into some of these things. And the only
Mm-hmm.
cost for a gather information role is time. You're
Mm.
not limited in terms of how many you can do, like with the downtime activities, but the clock does advance when you do a gather information role.
But we're also going to want to get rid of some heat,
Yeah.
get rid of some stress.
Get
I
rid
need
of
to
some
get rid of
stress.
stress,
Yeah.
possibly get rid of this gaping wound in my arm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, souvenirs.
Yeah. I mean, I would take care of it
Scars
for
are
you, but
fine.
I only have 2 downtime items, and I'm going to be the one to be doing the research on the blueprints. So if I want to lose stress, that means I have to indulge my vice. And I can't. That means you got to go get healing somewhere else.
Why can't you indulge your vice?
Well, I only get 2 activities,
Mm-hmm.
right? So one
So
is going to
it's
be
worth noting that if you don't indulge your vice, it costs stress.
okay.
Yeah.
But my point is, if I only get 2 activities and I have to do, and like we want to research these plans,
Mm-hmm.
I'm the research dude.
Yeah.
So that's one of my 2 activities, and the other
Mm-hmm.
one has got to be reduce stress, indulge vice.
Yeah. I'm just
So
saying
I
that
can't heal her.
okay, so for her to heal is her downtime activity, even if you're helping with it.
Oh, okay. Because I thought me healing her I would have to burn a downtime activity.
No.
No, to heal her is her downtime activity. Now, if you want to
Okay.
heal your own harms, that is one of yours.
Okay. Now, if I heal her,
Mm-hmm.
does that cost me stress?
No,
Okay.
No.
it only costs you stress to do it to yourself, because think about it like a doctor having to treat their own wound,
Right.
right? It's just awkward, right? And maybe
Yes.
uncomfortable. Whereas when you're doing it with someone else, you could just do it for them. Now,
Okay.
one thing that you could consider for the future is a possible downtime activity is to acquire an asset. And for example, what you could do is acquire a doctor who could treat you, so you wouldn't have to do it yourself and you wouldn't have to pay that stress cost, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's something you could choose to do whenever you feel like you want to devote the downtime activity to it.
Okay. So Jenny, if you want to do your healing, you get +1 die because I will be helping.
Yeah. So this would be the recover action. And yes, so basically what you would be doing, Falwell, is you would roll Tinker with a 1d bonus.
Where
Okay.
is the recover
Um,
on
so
our sheet?
It's page 169 in the book, but then I think for the way it looks in the sheet is, you see there's a little healing 4-step clock.
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah.
So basically, when the roll happens, you will fill some number of segments of that clock. And when you fill it up with 4, that basically, you clear, you would clear the level 1 harms, and your level 2 would become a level 1.
Okay. So do I have to roll?
No. So because Falwell has the anatomist role, he can do it. Otherwise, we
Okay.
would be having the cohort who's like, if you acquired an asset for a doctor cohort, then they would do the role based on their tier.
Okay.
He does
Yeah.
have to be called Dr.
Yeah.
Cohort, no, though,
Yeah.
when we get him.
One
Yes.
note too, though, is there is always also the option of you can go to the hospital, which clears all your harm, but you can either go to the public hospital, which costs 3 heat, or you go to a private hospital, which costs 3 stacks. So I don't think you probably want to do either of those right now.
No,
But that's
not
always
right now.
at least a possible option. But so in this case, to do your first recover roll, we would have Falwell roll a Tinker, which I think is actually Wrench on your sheet, because the
Okay.
quick start
Yeah.
kind of goes back and forth. So it would be Wrench with a +1 D6 bonus.
So I have 3 in wrench now
Mm-hmm.
because I got an extra level of wrench.
Pretty good.
+1, so I roll 4d6.
Yep. Okay, so you didn't want
I
to
got a
click it
6.
through your sheet? I mean, you could. This works fine too, but you know.
Oh, okay. So if
it
I
just has
click,
the fancy little interface.
okay, so
On your screen.
position.
This would be a
It
fortune roll,
doesn't
right?
matter for this one, so it'd be it's well, no, so go ahead and just do your Tinker, because you're still rolling your activity, but just it doesn't matter the position and
Effect.
right now. Yeah.
Bonus dice is 1.
Yep.
Wrench. Okay.
So we can, because you did roll 46, we can use that result. I just wanted you to see that you can do that other way, but we can use that first one since it had a 6. I'm happy to let that stand. So what that means is that a 6 on a single recover roll fills 3 segments of your healing clock and clear all level 1 harm, which means that you do still have the level 2 arm shot, but you're 3 out of 4. So basically, like, if you wanted to do it again, like a second downtime activity, you would almost certainly clear it completely. Or you could say, well, you cleared all the level 1 and you still have the level 2, but it's, it's on its way to being mended. You see what I mean? It's kind of that balance.
Yeah, I'm gonna forego that and my next thing I'm gonna do is indulge my vice and reduce stress.
Okay.
So,
Mhm.
but
All right.
somebody else
So,
can go
so
first.
how does this treatment go? Like, what's your bedside manner here, Professor Stoke? Do you how are you treating Pyretta's arm here?
Um, I get out Franny and have her look at the wound, and I examine it, and I gently, lovingly, expose the arm and look at where the bullet is lodged, and it's like, oh, okay, I can just, use my thumb to apply some pressure and send it back up the wound channel, which will dislodge the infection and the uh, bullet at the same time, and then a splash of vodka and a fresh
Bob's my uncle.
a fresh
Bandage.
tourniquet, wounded bandage, whatever. Fresh wrap will keep it clean.
Describe Franny for me because you mentioned a couple of times and I can't remember. I don't have a visual for it at the moment.
Like a pocket watch, right?
Yeah, it's a large pocket watch.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Do you have it on a gold chain
Yeah.
around your neck
So,
because you're really cool?
oh
I
no, no,
think
in the pocket of my vest.
Okay.
does Franny talk? Do you want me to play Franny? Because we discussed this with Lloyd the Goblin for Pyretta, and we kind of established that I wouldn't do that, but I could here if you wanted.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So I don't know the
I'm
name
kind
just
of
makes me
picturing Miss Manners.
okay.
Spanners. So looks like a pocket watch when you open up the case, or do you like how does that?
It looks like a pocket watch with a sort of a human face.
Mhm.
When you
Um,
open it,
when you open
like
it.
there's a human face inside. I love it.
So I'm also thinking, what was it Professor Theophilus? He used to ride on
Dr.
Twiggy's
Theophilus,
Dr.
yeah.
Theophilus, yeah. He used to ride on Twiggy's chest.
Yep.
Or Twiggy? Twinkie?
Tweaky.
Tweaky, that's it.
Yeah, I think that Franny is not necessarily helpful in the medical treatment because she is primarily for research, but certainly she's I think you can use her in general. Like I'm just saying that she's not an expert in that, but what she certainly can be giving you updates. It's just like,
Hmm.
oh, the latest treatments say that you should always make sure to clean the wound with proper alcohol before you bandage it up.
All righty. Thank you, Franny.
That was what the vodka was for, right?
Yes,
I
that's
say
what.
as I take a sip.
A little on the arm, a little down the throat.
You've got to treat it with alcohol both externally and internally.
Take the
Kills the
bottle, shove it into the
germs.
wound.
Ah.
Mm.
All right, so very nice. So yes, you have your your level 1 harms cleared, and it's mending. So I would say like it's no longer infected. The bullet has been removed, but it definitely still is a shot arm, which doesn't feel great. So
It smarts a little.
yeah. All right, cool. So do we want to jump right to Pyretta indulging her vice, or do we want to do another one?
Somebody else can do something.
Mark?
I mean, I've got to indulge my vice. I'm super
Yeah.
stressed.
You also all do.
Yep.
We haven't resolved yet the Goodrich's car situation.
No.
Right.
No.
I've also got a backing faction that has to be addressed.
So the backing faction only will come into play if you have asked them for help on something.
Oh,
Which
okay.
does mean that you can do that whenever you want. You can reach out to them and say, can you help me with something? I would like a favor of some kind. And then depending on what you ask for, then you will do a roll to see at what point they want a favor back. That's how that move will work. But since you didn't actually ask them for anything last session, you don't owe them anything yet. However, what it also means is you can still ask them for something whenever you want. That's a move that's always available to you as having a backing faction.
Okay.
So, for example, if you wanted to ask your backing faction, what do you know about Blue Raker 5, you could do that, for example.
Yeah, I don't think they'll know anything about your Thrive. They're a bunch of mystics.
Yeah, I'm just trying to
But
demonstrate.
no, I
Yeah,
get it.
it's
I
like,
get
or
it.
if you want resources or help with some other situation, it's all of that's there. But
Okay.
yes. So who's next then? Do you we want to do Vesper indulging his vice?
Sure.
So you have identified your vice's gambling at the Sky High Casino, high
Yeah.
above Duskfall. So do you go there straight from the power station, you think? Or is this later?
I think it'll have to be another day because we're probably at the power station pretty late.
Yeah.
Well, he is anyway. I already mentioned that he kind of stays there
Sure.
longer than most.
But so like maybe you did all return back to the base and get some rest. I mean, you wouldn't have to. I think the casino is running 24/7, but yeah, you tell me, right?
Yeah, it'd be like the next night or whatever. So he'll change from the dancing outfit into a different shaded turtleneck, probably a light blue this time, over which he'll put on a semi-formal jacket,
Mm-hmm.
and with a notepad in the corner so we can track his wins and losses and know when he's due for a good win. Kind of betting against himself in that case. And then, look for probably the riskiest game, not in terms of like physical violence or anything, but risky in terms of the longest odds to start with.
Well, so specifically,
just for the thrill.
Yeah, you chose Carter, who is like a specific person. Is this a dealer at some specific game that you like?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
And you win some, you lose some.
Uh-huh.
Sill's been here before, Vesper's been here before, and lost probably more than he's won.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the night, he's always like a little bit sweaty under the collar. There's that sense of having run a marathon, the ride, the thrill of the odds, and playing absolutely absurd odds half the time.
Yeah.
Like the bets that just don't make any sense, but when they land, they really land.
Right, right. So the Sky High Casino is literally not in any of the neighborhoods on the map. You take an airship up to it, and it's literally floating up in the air above the city. So I would have to imagine there's just like there's a whole kind of I don't want to say ordeal because they people do it, right? Like it's a thing, right? Like do you have like rituals that are you superstitious about the gambling?
Kind of a crossover between superstitious and analytic.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like how astronomical charts have all this math involved, but they're based off of beliefs more than they are of actual, concrete evidence. So I think that's what that book is for, is to kind of track the wins and losses and go, okay, I made extraordinary bet here, didn't pay off for 3 hands. The next time the extraordinary bet comes up, it won't pay off for about 4 hands, but then it's only 1 hand away, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like he's paying into karma that he expects to have that return at some point.
Yeah. So who is Carter? Carter's the dealer. What are they like?
I kind of imagine them as maybe a young dealer, or at least has that perpetual young face.
Yeah.
He could be 50, but he'd still look like he's in his 30s, kind of thing.
Got those like baby fat cheeks.
Kinda, yeah. Always dressed very, very.
I would probably in a uniform, right?
Yeah, but a uniform with flair,
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. He wears it very well. And always wears gloves when he deals.
Yeah. How do they know you? Meaning, obviously, you come to gamble there, but like, do they know your name? What do they call you? You're a regular at this point, right?
Yeah, I think he's known to Carter as
Mm-hmm.
Vesper.
Okay.
Um, he won a trip to come here the first time,
Mm-hmm.
won a little bit of money that he then subsequently lost at the table, and then broke even, but he never lost the sort of keen response.
So, you won Slade Wilson, your infiltrator cohort,
Right.
from the Lounge Rats. Was it playing this game with
Yes.
Carter?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the kind of the kind of game where the bets start to get ridiculous, and he went
Yeah.
sure. I don't know what he wagered against that, but it was probably something like himself,
Mm-hmm.
and he came out on top.
Yeah. So I would imagine, so mechanically, this move does not require to interface with the amount of like actual stacks you have as a mechanism, right? Um, but I would imagine that this is the sort of thing where you have like we don't need to really track wins or losses, but maybe you have some sort of an expense account with your backing um, faction that maybe
Maybe I'm
isn't really
passing it off as
supposed to be
kind of a
used this
research
way.
project into
Yeah.
the mystical qualities of chance.
Right. And it may be something that like the backing faction is aware that you're gambling with your expense account, but they consider it worth the cost of having your involvement for now.
A long-term investment, yeah.
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 Okay, great. So I think, when you show up tonight, what's your demeanor? Are you calm and collected, or is this the sort of thing that actually gets Vesper worked up a little?
I think yeah, because I don't expect the other two have necessarily seen him when he's at the actual casino, but he doesn't look entirely like himself. There's a
Mm,
smile which you rarely see from him, and almost an eagerness that brings a little lightness into his step
mm-hmm,
as he walks through. And he, recognizes a bartender here, although again doesn't drink. Knows a number of the regulars who are here as well, some of which he's lost to, some of which he's won,
mm-hmm,
and kind of goes through the room that way. Whether anybody actually respects him or not is entirely different, but that's
mm-hmm.
how he acts, as if he's kind of come to a place. It might also be the kind of thing where so much of the time, especially on scores, he's
Mm-hmm.
very calculating, very exacting, very much low risk on all of
Right.
those.
Yeah.
And here he throws all of that away. He lets himself be completely at the whims of chance and karma, but he believes he is playing the game,
It's
not
like,
just random.
these people who are like the head of companies, but they like to go to a dominatrix almost, only from a risk perspective of like,
Sure.
yeah, you like to control everything, but then sometimes what you like to do is make really important decision on something you can't control.
Yeah, and even to the point of wearing wingtip shoes, that kind of
Mm-hmm.
flashiness that he doesn't indulge in much.
Okay. Yeah, I think Carter sees you come in and says, "Oh, Vesper, I feel like I haven't seen you around in a little bit. What have you been up to?"
I've been busy, doing all the usual things that people do, finding boring life every day.
Well,
But I'm here to tilt the odds. I'm here to move the world. I'm here to shake the belief that everything is normal.
I am always happy to see you. You always put these things into such great turns of phrase.
Hey, when I win, I'm generous. When I lose, you get paid. What's to hate?
Nothing from my end. So, let's see how Lady Luck treats you tonight then, huh?
Absolutely. Deal me
Okay.
in.
And he does. So the indulge vice move. Here we go. The way that works is you make an attribute roll using your character's lowest attribute rating. And so what that means is for you, looking at your different skills, you have 0 in the resolve, right?
Yeah.
So that is the one that you roll. So you're going to roll basically a 0d6, which means it will roll 2, and you choose and you take the lower of the 2. And whatever the lower of the 2 is, that's how much stress you clear.
Okay. So it's a resolve roll, no bonus dice. That's a 4.
That's not bad. So you are able to clear 4 stress.
Nice.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that you get XP when you make 0 rolls. Does that count on this too?
I think that
Like, do you gain experience during downtime?
I think I don't know. Let's see. Every
'Cause
time you roll a desperate action or a 0 dot action. But is an action this is like a resistance roll, I think. Yeah.
it's an attribute roll, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I think this would not.
Okay.
However, if, for example, you were doing a gather information roll and you did a 0d6 roll, that would count.
Okay.
I think it's whenever you're using one of the skills as opposed to this, which is more like a reaction or a.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. So the thing that I'm sure we will eventually discover with these indulging of vice is that if you end up rolling high enough to clear more stress than you have, you actually overindulge and can create new complications. But didn't happen for you. I believe you actually just go from 8 stress to 4 or something like that.
Well, we had cleared one from the
yes,
dancing
right.
as well, so I go down to 3.
Okay, so not bad. That's a pretty good reaction. So I think that that sounds like you had maybe a moderately successful night.
Yeah, I won a little bit more than I usually lose.
Hmm.
I bet much bigger than I have for a while.
Yeah.
I didn't lose all of it.
Very nice. So always great to see you, Mr. Varden.
Always great to be here. Honestly, this is what makes my life so much better. But I gotta go before I run out of my luck for the day.
Okay, great. So who else has a downtime activity?
I was going to indulge my vice.
Yeah, sure. So your vice, as you chose, was pleasure as a foodie.
Mm-hmm.
Your contact is Chef Lizanne at the Golden Plum Restaurant in Six Towers.
Mm-hmm.
This is a Taikarosi restaurant. And so probably Chef Lizanne, I would imagine, is also Taikarosi. What do they look like?
I don't remember what Taikarosi means.
Taikarosi is like what Pyretta is, in the sense that they're from kind of somewhere else, that they get here through a void gate. And is it an alien planet? Is it another continent? But basically, they always have some sort of a strange, like in the original game, people always thought that they might be like demons coming from hell, for example. But now it's maybe flavored a little bit more like maybe aliens. So Pyretta has little antenna, but it could also be lots of things. She could have just weird, strange colored skin. She could have unusual eyes.
She's got large emerald, like huge emerald spheres for eyes. Ooh. And kind of like just a double slit above her mouth for a nose, and tough leathery skin.
Wow, okay.
I'm specifically thinking of the Sleestacks.
Sure. Okay, so here's my question. When you indulge in your vice here, you have this contact. So is this something where you just go to this restaurant and there's a pre-established like relationship where you just ask for a table and you know that she's the chef, and then she'll hear like, oh yeah, the maitre d says Professor Stokes
Hmm.
here today, and then she'll maybe have something special for you? Or do you contact with her like outside the restaurant?
Oh, no, no.
Okay.
I sit at a table of honor
Mm-hmm.
that is very clearly a table for one.
Yeah.
There is no menu. There is no discussion. It is chef's choice. And um, the sommelier and the bartender each create, the sommelier picks a fine wine. The bartender makes me the latest, hippest cocktail. And I sit there as small plate after small plate comes out. I eat slowly and deliberately, and everyone who is watching me wishes they had anything on earth that they were as passionate about as I am about every single nibble of these small, extremely fancy, complex, and delicate bites of food
So
are. And
do you have like any sort of like a conversational relationship with the chef, or is this just like,
oh,
I'm asking, it doesn't have to be.
oh yes.
Yeah, okay. Hmm.
But that comes after.
Sure. Yeah. She
First, first we indulge.
mm,
We we let our the palate open up. We become one with the food, quite literally,
mhm.
because you are what you eat. And then afterward, he will go into the back and talk with the chef once service is complete
Mhm.
and
Oh, so do you
describe.
go back into the kitchen or does she come to the table?
Oh no, I go back into the
Okay.
kitchen while they're, once service is complete and they're
Mhm.
starting, prep for tomorrow and clean, and he will describe for them in the most erotic terms just how intensely awesome every bite of food
Mhm.
was, and how each of, like, he could taste each individual component, and he will, inquire as to, who made, you know the choice for this oil that was part of, this
Mhm.
sauce, and who made this sauce, and who cooked the duck, and let them know that he experienced it as a whole and as the individual parts at its same time.
So I think that there was a really interesting sort of a paella tonight, only part of the seafood involved was a very rare Taikarose oyster that is, when it is exposed to the right sauce, actually not only cooks itself but sets off a chemical reaction that is what cooks the rest of the dish, and it all has to be prepared just right, but so it's delivered to the table in a way that looks exquisitely plated but otherwise raw, and then there is just a single drop of a special liquid added at the table, and it creates this
And
flush of
the
steam.
heat starts rising off of
Mm-hmm.
it, and
Yeah,
he's bringing the smell to his nose,
yeah.
and his entire being is focused on watching this cook on the plate with the heat coming off of this
Mm-hmm.
oyster.
Yeah. So here's the follow up question. You described the uh, erotic detail of your enjoyment of it. Does it stop there, or is this the sort of thing that continues later on into the evening, maybe back at someone's apartment?
Um, Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes it's the chef, and
Mhm.
sometimes it's one of the sous chefs,
Okay.
or
All right.
you know, the saucier, the dessert chef.
I was just thinking, why not both, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, it's one of those things where they obviously respect their craft and they always appreciate someone that likewise understands the work and effort and craft that goes into it. And also sometimes, yeah, you're an enthusiast
Oh,
in
very
all
much so.
aspects. Okay. Well, let's see how it went tonight, though. So for you, your lowest attribute would be also resolve, but you have 1d6 for that. So
Okay.
you're rolling the 1d6, and that's it, rather than taking the lowest of two.
Okay. And no bonus dice.
Correct.
Oh, wow.
Oh, look at that.
Whoa.
That's a 6, which means that you are able to clear 6 stress, which sounds like this was a very successful outing to the Golden Plum.
Yeah, because that takes me down to 1 stress.
Yeah,
Nice.
very nice.
Ah.
This is very much a, don't wait up for me, guys. Fantastic, fantastic. Okay. So, how about you, Pyretta? Are you also looking to indulge your vice?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I would like to go to my favorite weird, abandoned, and cursed animatronic sideshow.
Yes. Yes. So this is, as we've established your base, your lair. We hadn't really picked a place on the map, but your place is in Silk Shore. This building that was once a movie theater, now abandoned, or claimed rather, but appears to be abandoned from the outside because it's a hidden lair. But so on the map, let's see, I can just switch to the um, um, on the map here in Silk Shore. We're right at the very edge, but this clear area on the coast in the northwestern area there, that is the area that is basically this location where all of the casinos and other shops and everything that have like old animatronics or displays or big old neon signs that are like broken or just have been replaced. All of that stuff is kind of just all dumped in that area, and it is a wealth, a hoard of treasure for the people who like that sort of weird, surreal stuff and dig that abandoned amusement park ambiance.
Because everything is still alive in there. Like I can feel the
Mm-hmm.
spirits of
Mm-hmm.
these animatronics
Yeah.
lingering on.
So tell me what it is that you do there. Do you just sort of wander the displays? Is there someone you talk to there? Or is like what is it that you do that relieves your stress when you go there?
I actually talk to the animatronics.
Oh,
Like I
okay.
will like hold conversations with them, and I will feel their aura
Mm-hmm.
and their energy, and tell them, I know you're still alive and you're still there and I
Mm-hmm.
still feel you. Don't let anyone tell you you're not. Like that sort of thing, because now they're saying there's no such thing, but I feel it. I know they're there.
Sure. Well,
They're my
and
friends.
yeah. And I think that without asking if they are really talking back to you, I would ask first, would anyone else watching you think that they're talking back to you? Or is this something
I
that
think
you would only perceive, only you perceive?
I think somebody from a distance that might see me talking to them might
Mm-hmm.
think, "Oh, is it answering her?" Because
Mm-hmm.
I'm it's kind of like when I talk to Lloyd, like
Mm-hmm.
I hear what's
Sure.
going on
Mm-hmm.
and I know what's being said. but I don't realize that other people don't. So I'm like very carefree
So
about
do
it.
you have regular ones that you visit, or do you just kind of wander and see which one calls to you on any particular event?
I do have a couple regular ones.
Mm-hmm.
One is like that the genie, like the big genie box in Big,
Yeah.
like where you get the tickets from. Like I go and talk to that one regularly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like I don't know, he's kind of one of my best friends, I think. Like he really
So,
gets me.
who is this Zoltar or a similar sort of name there?
It's not Zoltar. I will say that his name is um Zofran. Like
Zofran.
it's
Okay,
yeah, like it's like a knockoff Zoltar.
sure. Now, does he talk to you in that same sort of like all-seeing sort of I am predicting your future sort of thing, or is it more informal than that now that he's, let's say, retired?
It's more informal. Like
I
it's more
love that
friendly
idea
chit
so
chat.
much.
Okay.
It's
Like,
just bizarre. I love it.
Yeah.
like he tells me like what he's
Hmm.
seen lately, and he
Hmm.
complains sometimes that he doesn't see the future like he used to, and it's kind of depressing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You really need to have more contact with the living on a regular basis to pick up the auras these days. I don't see so much foot traffic anymore. Now, you're such a charming thing. You come and visit me. I really appreciate that. And I'll always tell you if I see anything having to do with you, but boy, I don't get the visions like I used to.
Yeah, I think it's all that crackdown on the spiritual energy. Maybe
Well,
they're suppressing it.
It always used to be that the ghosts were kept out by the lightning barriers, and the lightning barriers, you knew how those worked, right? You refine the Leviathan blood, and it makes the lightning barriers work. Now, who knows what they're doing? This blue array and making the sky light up. I don't get it.
Rounding up souls.
Yeah, I bet you they're just using the all of this fancy schmancy electroplasmic power is probably just coming from burning the ghosts that used to be around here. That's my
That
theory.
I am on board with that theory. I think it's wrong, and I have been fighting against that for decades.
Hmm. I'm glad that there are still people out there who are willing to take a stand against the horrors of these strange new technologies. Who knows what kinds of havoc they're actually wreaking on the spiritual world?
Definitely.
Mm.
Definitely. I'll tell you what, I will see if I can bring some of my crew by sometime.
Oh,
Maybe
that
they
would be.
can interact with you and help you get your faculties going again.
I always appreciate your visits, and any friend of yours is a friend of mine. Besides, I'd like to
Thanks.
meet these two guys and make sure they're taking good care of you.
Well, they let me get shot the other day, but
What?
that's a whole different thing.
Now, are
They
you
were
being
busy getting
careful?
shot themselves.
Were you
I
doing
I do
something
my best.
dangerous?
It is a little bit dangerous, but in order to get the research for my work, I have to do this.
You know what? It's important to have something you believe in that much.
It is. It is. But you take care, Zofran.
You take care too, Pyretta. And then he's like, all
I love
right.
it.
Fantastic. Okay, so for Pyretta, you would be doing a prowess roll because that is your lowest attribute. So that is also just one for you.
Did it roll?
I haven't seen it pop up.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, look at that,
5.
5. Yeah, you guys all had pretty good luck in relieving your stress this time. So I believe that that's everyone is now one downtime activity down. So what would you like to do now? I'll remind you as time is passing. Have you? Um, I'm going to ask, how are we resolving Goodrich's car? Because I think you can certainly take as much time as you would like, but I think he's probably worried about his car. We specifically established when you flashbacked to borrow it that you were hoping to return it that night.
Yeah. I will. I will. I don't know if I can. I mean, does that count as one of my downtime activities? Because I've already done
No,
two.
no. Like as I said, if as a crew you have one stack right now of money, right? If you want to
Mhm.
just pay that, I'll say Slade Wilson takes that money and he gets the car fixed and he'll bring it back. But if you didn't want to use the stack for that purpose, you might need to tell me how else you would manage it. And that could be anything you want. You could have some contact in a shop that you promise to do a job for later. You could have someone that you're friends with arrange it, or you could be extorting someone that once did something to cross you, and now you're making them pay you back. But all of those things might require a roll.
I would. I would ask if we could negotiate for me to potentially conduct a séance
Mm-hmm.
for the like the mechanics, any lost loved ones the mechanics
Okay.
really missing.
Okay. So, like, you offer to try to help them contact someone that they lost in exchange for doing the repair work.
Yeah.
Okay. So this sounds like probably something that wouldn't be happening that night, but maybe the next day.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so we might just we'll resolve with Goodrich when you're able to repair it. But so how about we do an attune roll then? I would say this is a controlled situation because there's nothing otherwise really pressing, right? Other than just hoping that it goes well. I would say controlled standard.
Oh
Oh,
man.
well,
Ooh.
see, that's a controlled standard roll, but with a result of 2. So I think what
Mhm.
that means is, as we've established, when it's controlled, there's no consequence right away. But you did falter, it didn't work. And so what you can either do is sort of withdraw and try something else, or you could press on, making it a risky roll, but roll again.
I will do that.
Okay.
Um so let's attune. Risky. And then is it
It would be risky standard
standard
also
still?
still, yeah.
Okay.
But now there's potential consequences.
All right, here we go. I'm crying. Oh my
Oh
god, now it's a
boy, and
3.
that's a 1 and a 3. So unfortunately, now if it's risky, things go badly. You suffer harm, a complication occurs, you end up in a desperate position, or you lose this opportunity. Um, I think that what happens here is um, you maybe didn't manage to convince the mechanic to do the work first. And what happens is that you do manage to connect him with the the echo of his departed mother, but the conversation does not go well. She always thought that he had it in him to make more of himself, and now he runs a back alley chop shop, and she just is disappointed in him, and she's basically lecturing him. Is like, look at the state of your shop. There's grease all over the floor. You're working with criminals who are, you're not, and you're not. What kind of business plan is this, that you're talking to me instead of charging actual money? You're doing this all wrong. And he's basically so upset by this that he storms out and does not finish the work.
Oh man, that guy.
I think Slade says, "You want me to go persuade him to come back?"
Yes, please. I gotta get this car back.
So I think what that suggests to me is that so if Slade is helping with that, this could be the two of you together making another roll. Um, uh, because he's an infiltrator, which means that he's not like he's more sneaky than muscle, right?
Right.
But I think that he's also principled. So this sounds to me like he's probably not going to be willing to hurt the guy, but he might be
Right.
willing to stand in the shadows and look scary while you persuade him to come back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I will do that.
Okay,
So
so that might
that
be
would be what, sway?
sway, yeah.
Yeah.
Sway with one bonus die for Slade's help.
Is that
And this would be risky
risky?
again. Yeah, because you're
Okay.
pressing your luck, right? Like you already upset the guy, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here we go. One. Oh my gosh,
Okay.
4.
Well, with a 4, I think so. A 4 in this case for risky, you do it, but there's a consequence. You suffer. So I think he's upset, and especially with his mom really making a fuss about like he should be charging money. This is why you're not doing better. Um, I think with the 4, what you discuss with him is that you don't have to pay him now, but you do need to pay him a stack when you can.
Okay, that works.
Okay, so he comes back to do the work, but basically with an IOU of 1 stack instead of just having it be covered by the seance.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
I'll make a note of that too.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so that was, for example, that's free play stuff that didn't require a downtime action to do.
Okay.
But so for example, you all could also do things like gather information rolls or those sorts of things to find out more information. But like I said, it just the only downside of the only cost of that sort of thing is that time passes as you do it. But otherwise, you can always do those sorts of things. But still, so what's the name of this mechanic?
Belsley.
To Belsley the mechanic. Okay, great. So how does this go, bringing the car back to Goodrich? And I think it's fixed, but it's clear that something got fixed. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like it looks like like there were a couple of little dings, and now there aren't.
Yeah.
And so and you're also bringing it back later. So I think how do you present this? Like, how do you contact him? How are you bringing it back?
I will. I'll give him a ring and then I'll tell him I'm bringing the car back.
Yeah.
But I have some news.
Yeah.
I'll explain when I get there.
Well,
and then I brace myself for the entire
I was so
ride
worried
over.
when you didn't come back with the car. I thought you might have gotten yourself into some trouble.
Well, I kind of did. A little bit
You show up with
of trouble.
a bandage on your arm.
Yeah.
Are you?
Couple
Do you have it like
bruises.
in a sling and stuff like that? And
Yeah.
I you know what? I think Goodrich, as soon as he sees that, he goes, "Oh my God, are you okay? Are you okay?" And he's like, now he's immediately in caretaker mode, and yeah, like it's all forgiven, but he's like he he's taking the opportunity to feel like he's the strong one that's helping you now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I cry a little bit just to make it
Aw.
like to really drive the point home because I feel guilty.
Yeah.
I really need to get my own car. But
Mm.
hey, like I fixed it and I
Yeah.
even fixed some things that happened before I took it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Oh, you didn't have to do that. You did have to do that. But yeah. But I think, he's just very much, um, I think that there maybe is a little bit of a mutual understanding in the subtext that he enjoys taking care of you, right? And,
Yeah.
so like feeling like he was worried, he was maybe going to be a little mad, but then when he saw that you're hurt, that's, you know, so he's going to like, fix you up all cozy on his couch, and you watch some of the like the TV shows they got around there. Nice cozy evening in,
Yeah. TV
followed by
dinners.
maybe whatever else might follow.
Wild stuff.
I'm trying to remember what they call TV in this setting, because I have to say what you do first and then chill, right? Um, but yes, in any case, though, yeah, I think that's resolved. So I know we're getting a little bit later. We don't have to rush this or anything, but I one of the things that I was envisioning we might still get to is that if we finished the downtime activities, then we could run the trouble engine and then do the planning meeting. But maybe what we do is see how much longer the downtime activities take, maybe do the trouble engine, and then do the planning meeting next time. What do you think?
Yeah,
I think
I
that
think
works.
I think after we've done it once, it'll be a
Mm-hmm.
lot faster
Oh,
for us in the
sure,
future
absolutely.
too.
And to some extent, it's I want to like I'm not trying to suggest that we're taking too long to do these things, right? Because this is part of the game too, right? Like these scenes, this is all part. This is character. This is planning. This is setup. This is all part of the game. It's not just the part that we do in between actual game, right? So in any case, though, I think so. That's one downtime activity for each of you. I think you have now resolved at least one of the ongoing items, and the other is the briefcase. But I think you were going to work on trying to do a
I was
um,
gonna do research on it.
yeah.
And
Um,
I mean, we can do that next time if anyone, if
no,
it's getting late for
no, no, no,
anyone.
no. It's
Okay.
it's not that. It's more just that after while we're doing downtime, there's also like two more phases of things that I was talking about. So we can
Right.
definitely have time for this. We don't need. I don't want us to rush it. I'm just trying to plan. So yeah. But also this might be just kind of a roll, right? Because what I'm going to tell you is this is a lot of very highly technical stuff. And it is the fact that you are who you are that means that you're going to be able to do it even as fast as this clock that I'm talking about here.
Okay.
I'm going to say it's a 6 clock to complete it, and I'm going to put a clock for that actually um, on the Duskfall map screen here. I've got a couple of clocks for other faction stuff on here already. I'm gonna add a new one for this. Where's yeah. Um, so this is the studying the briefcase project. Okay. So I think then the way a long-term project works is that you're going to do a roll for studying it, and you have a couple of things that can benefit. And the other thing is too that you could potentially have more than like I know that Pyretta has now used both of her downtime actions, right, for indulging vice and one for healing. But I know that Vesper still has one. right?
I've
So
got
you
something
could,
else in mind for
okay,
mine, but yeah.
so that works fine too, but I am just saying is you can
Mhm.
have more than one person work on any given long-term project. That is allowed. So the long-term project, because I'm always having to find the pages. Yeah.
Did they change the term from tinker to wrench? Is that what I'm
Yes.
Yeah.
confused?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
it kind of goes back and forth in the same book.
Okay.
Um, One thing that's worth noting for long-term project, because we've already know what we want to do here, but this is also where you could, for example, invent things or jury rig gear that you might want to use for a new score, that sort of thing. Also, there are paranormal experiments, and the way that works is that only Jenny's character as the paranormalist can do those. But each experiment would have a theory section and a performance section, and until you have the advancement forbidden science, you would only be able to do the theory section. So that's just heads up there. But you are doing just a simple long-term project, and so you are going to you describe what your character does to advance the project clock and roll one of your actions, and based on the result, you fill some number of segments. But even with a critical result, that fills 5 segments, and so one downtime action is not going to be enough to completely fill this clock.
Okay.
But you can make some progress, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so in this case, you have, I guess, tell me what you would be doing. Certainly, you have Franny who's there to help, right?
Yep. And we're going over the blueprints and the inside of the case and trying to gather as much information as we can. We look at the blocks of text in the corner of the drawings to see who wrote them, who did the draft work on them,
Mm-hmm.
what company, uh, etc., to learn as much as we can about it,
Right.
um, including like looking for things like, are they, genuine? Do they appear to be some kind of copy?
Mm-hmm.
Did someone doctor them? Like,
Yeah.
maybe
And
the whole
yeah, the
point
nature
is
of
to,
this one is that I will give you information for every tick that you get. So
okay,
completing the clock will be saying, and that's all I think that you can get from it without some more elaborate involved thing, right? And
mm-hmm,
so, but however, for each tick you get, you're going to get some information.
okay,
So what I would say then here is probably the right skill would probably be study, I would guess.
that was what I was thinking.
Yeah. So you would make the study roll, but you would get a bonus die for having Franny help.
And is this like controlled?
In this case, yes, it would be controlled, and for let me think. You know what? I'm going to also say for great effect because, well, so it's moot. The effect is moot because there's a fixed table for the long-term project.
Okay,
So
so I
just go
can
ahead. Just it's controlled, but also just it doesn't really matter specifically on this roll because it's not a usual action table.
and I get 1 bonus dice for Franny.
Yes. Look at that. You got a 6, which means
Woohoo!
you can fill 3 segments of the clock.
All righty.
Yeah, so let me go ahead and mark that on here, and I'll give you a. So what I can tell you already that you found out is that
Mm-hmm.
these are copies. These are not the only copy of this information. You would imagine a project of this size must have a lot of people working on it, if
Mm-hmm.
although certainly you would imagine under conditions of great secrecy, but this is not the work of like 2 or 3 people, right? So
Mm-hmm.
there are probably other copies, but someone who would have had access to those documents has made a pretty comprehensive culling of enough copies of specific documents to be giving a lot of information on the project. So the point being, the project can certainly continue without these documents. The problem is like who else might have that information also, right?
Right. This would let a competitor or foreign nation
Mm-hmm.
um, advance their own project.
Yes. Or potentially know what it might be getting used for,
Mm-hmm.
what you could maybe do to stop it, all sorts of things, right?
Yep.
So in any case, yes, what you know is that they are copies, and I think that the other two things that I'll give you for now are that you get two names. Apparently, the person who is sort of most foremost in charge of the project is someone named Strathmill, who is the Director General of the Ministry of Discovery, which is like it's part of the government, the imperial government, and the Ministry
Director
of
General of the Ministry of Discovery.
yes, and so the Ministry of Discovery is the governmental body responsible for the research and acquisition of new technologies in service to the Imperium. Not an unreasonable big surprise there, but the Director General, Strathmill, is directly involved in this project, and he seems to be the one that's like, the buck stops here. He's in charge of the project. Yeah. But then you also see that there is a major fellows from the Imperial military who is the liaison from the military and is overseeing military funding from this project. What you have not been able to determine yet, because it seems like they are keeping this very spare even within their internal documents, is what's it for, though? Because this is a big rocket, it's going to get launched, but also you guys are in a bubble city. What happens when you shoot a rocket through that? What is the rocket supposed to do? What's it for? And you see lots of things that could kind of like, you could imagine it could be loaded with a variety of different sorts of cargo or payload, but you can't really find anything that's clear about like, what is their intention? Like, why are they making a great big rocket?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if it's made by the Ministry of Discovery, who's primarily in charge and only getting funding from the military, Ministry of Discovery is usually about like advancement of science and technology and sort of that sort of thing. Like they're not usually the ones that would like be making just weapons, but they are being funded by the military. So you're not sure yet, but at the very least that the Imperial military and the Ministry of Discovery are both directly involved with the project.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's also worth just the context of that is nobody else knows about this, right? Like this is not like public information. Everybody knows they're working on the rocket. And the last little piece that I'll give you, even though I guess the fact that it's copies was not originally what I was thinking of as one of the ticks. But the last thing that I'll give you here is it is Blue Raker 5 because there were 4 others that didn't work in ways that the details are left kind of hanging. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So this is the 5th iteration of the project. And it's not clear what happened to the others, except as some like memos and sort of things saying that they're hoping that this one will succeed where the others failed.
Got it.
But certainly, with the Imperial military and the Ministry of Discovery running this project, you could certainly imagine why, intelligence agencies of other nations might be interested. But for that matter, almost anyone would be interested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, if someone was stealing money
Mm-hmm.
from this project,
Mm-hmm.
then they may have wanted the other four to fail.
Mm-hmm.
And if this one was getting ready to succeed, then whoever was stealing the money might be trying to sell the plans to make one more score before they left.
Yeah.
And because, once it succeeds, the likelihood of them getting caught for embezzlement has gone up. This is based completely on nothing whatsoever. But, I mean, it could be.
The idea of like, oh wait, no, they're going to actually try to launch this one. That means it might have to actually work, which means that the things I've been skimming off of might come to light.
Yeah.
Yeah, you never know. So what I would say though is that I think it's clear just from your own sort of setup and how it came to be in your possession, not to mention what the briefcase contents include, there are almost certainly a lot of moving pieces here because, it's not clear what the Ministry of Discovery intends to use the rocket for, but what the design shows you is that it probably could be used for lots of different things.
Okay.
All right. So, Vesper, you have one more downtime action yourself?
Yeah. I want to reduce some heat.
Okay.
If that number gets awfully close all the way, there. So, I'm only struggling a little bit with trying to frame what is going to be done.
Yeah. Well, so I think there's lots of options, right? Because the move doesn't require it to be anything in particular, except just that we have to narratively justify why that might help, right?
Yeah.
This is, for example, something where, calling in a favor from your backing faction absolutely could be one way to do that, right? So that would be one way, but I'm open to whatever other suggestion you might have.
Well, I was thinking a little bit about, because I have a covert friend, a diplomat, and seeing if I could work that in somehow.
Yeah.
In terms of yeah, I'm trying to think of where the heat's coming from.
Is Bowman the undersecretary?
No, he's the one oh wait, sorry. That's right. The undersecretary is the one I like. The diplomat's the one I don't.
Well, I mean, theoretically, your rival, you could still have a plan that involves them.
True. No, I was thinking of the idea. In fact, the undersecretary is better because I was having problems with the diplomat, which is usually working between nations, whereas the undersecretary works within the nation.
Right. So Bowman is an undersecretary of what?
I'm not really familiar with that structure, so I don't really know.
Well, so I guess you don't have to know the proper nouns. Tell me what general sort of action, what's their general responsibility? Give me qualitative, and I can tell you who they work for specifically.
I was thinking maybe public works.
Okay.
And it's a useful contact because he has things like the plans to all the sewer systems or all the buildings that are going up or building codes and stuff like that.
Because there's definitely the Ministry of Stability, the governmental body of the Imperium that oversees border security, transportation between cities, and the disbursement of food and other vital resources.
Okay.
I
Not
mean,
quite
that's
the
one
same,
option.
but
It doesn't
that's
have, no, it doesn't have to be that. That was just the first thing that came to my mind.
oh, okay. Okay.
So there's also other institutions. Um, are you thinking it would be someone locally here in the city, or it could be
Yes.
some other nation, right?
I was
But
thinking this city.
okay, so like there's the palace, right? Imperial military, city council, could be city council.
Yeah. I want to keep the decision you see simple
Yeah.
here, and I think city
City
council
council
works.
is the elected rulers of the city government, mostly aristocrats and nobles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Undersecretary to the city council. So
Yeah.
maybe not themselves elected, but just like one of the functionaries who serves whoever's in office right now.
A bureaucrat. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great.
And I was thinking about, and I kind of like the example they gave with consort. I thought, well, consort or sway,
Mm-hmm.
where it's more of kind of like, can I convince him to not necessarily doctor reports or anything like that, but just kind of uh, reshuffle a few things
Yeah.
so the immediate heat goes off.
So how do you know Bowman?
Um, I kind of like the idea of pulling weird kind of movie trope,
Yeah.
and that he caught me breaking into the building.
Okay.
And then we struck up a friendship. I agreed to do a few things for him,
Mm-hmm.
and we've kind of kept that on that
Okay.
not that professional level in many ways, where it's like, hey, I really need to know about this. I need to verify this, but I can't go through official channels, and I
Mm-hmm.
will look into it for it.
Sure. What do you give him for, like, you
Well,
know what I mean?
that's what I give him is I can look into, are they really following the rules? Are
Oh,
they, so
okay.
all the
Okay.
little things where it's easy for me to
Okay.
get in
So
there.
you trade information and
Trading
for
information,
favors.
yeah.
Okay. Sure. Great. Um. All right. So I think then I think someone in his position would absolutely be in a position. The city council is a much higher tier than the blue coats, who are otherwise the police, right? Like so, but they would certainly be in a position to basically tell some watch commander in the blue coats is like, listen, I don't think this prioritization that you're putting on looking for this what's this inspectors, no, that's not important. I need you to pull your resources off of that and focus on this other thing instead, right? Like I think they would definitely be in a position to do that.
Okay, perfect.
But we need you to roll obviously to see how
Yeah.
that goes. But theoretically, I think fictionally we could understand it potentially being a workable solution.
So I'll choose sway. I don't have any dots in sway.
Okay.
So we'll see how that works,
Yeah.
but I have
So
something else in mind too to try. So
okay. Well, and so certainly this is an action where rolling a 0d6 would give you an XP.
okay. Okay. So I'll roll the sway.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't really matter. There's no, I guess just a fortune roll is what we call this, right?
Well, no, you're doing it. You're doing it. It's
Is it
because
risky
fortune
standard or
roll
something?
is I think is just d6s, right? Where I guess yeah, it's a fortune roll, but it should be based on the number of you're doing a 0d6 fortune roll.
Right. But I can choose position as fortune roll for the sway.
Okay. Yeah. So the point is that this is not a risky or like the effect and position don't matter here. You're rolling on the table.
Right. So double sixes,
Nice.
which is
Wow.
weird.
Okay, which means that you would be taking the lower, but that's still 6,
Yeah.
which is great. Which means that you reduce 3 heat.
So what I want to do though, because I want to bring in the backing factions and have more fun.
Yeah.
My backing faction specifically has a help, which is increase the result level on a downtime activity roll.
Yeah.
So I can raise that to critical.
Yeah. So normally you wouldn't be able to get a critical on a 0d6, but certainly you can raise the effect in this way. So yeah, that would make it 5 segments then. So you could reduce.
Yeah.
Well, wait. So yeah, 5 heat.
Which is 1, 2, 3, 4. That brings us down to 2 heat.
Yeah.
Ooh. Okay, that
They
feels
don't
good.
even know we exist.
So they're on a wild goose chase for the most part.
Yeah. I would imagine. I think there's just enough heat because there's probably a half dozen bluecoats who got cold cocked by Vesper and Falwell who are feeling like, what do you mean they're taking us off of the inspector? we 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 got into a physical altercation with these guys. You're saying we're not even. Oh man.
They're not even a real organization.
Yeah.
So because I
Okay.
invoked the Strelay to help me do that,
Yeah.
the way I'm thinking is that they gave me some information that they could achieve supernaturally that he would not have.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he
Great.
gets something really beneficial out of it. And I can't tell him how I got this. And he's going to be left wondering, how could he possibly have gotten this? And I'm not going to tell him how. But that also plays into my mysterious? Enigmatic nature.
Okay. Great. So this, because the normal backing faction return the favor move is done at the start of personal business, this will count for next time. So you're still not going to do that move, but it will be 1d6 because that move you roll a number of dice based on how many times you have asked for help.
Gotcha. So I can still make it worse.
Yeah. Well, and it's not bad anyway. It's like you work for them, and it's really just it's kind of like they help you out, and then you help them out, right? So
worse in a good way.
But certainly, they might ask you for something urgently, which might mean you would need to persuade the rest of your crew to do a certain job right away instead of something else you might choose, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, great. So that's fun, and that brings us to, I think. We're not out of free play yet, but so let me, now that everyone has done their 2 downtime activities, I think let's just talk about what would be left, and then we decide. I think we're probably ready to wrap up for tonight. The trouble engine is something where basically various factions that are involved in what's going on have their own clocks for what they're trying to accomplish. And so in all of those other clocks that have little faction names on them, that I have on the Roll20 here, all of these other clocks, many of them are just labeled with the faction name and not what they're trying to do with it yet, because you don't know yet what they're trying to do, right?
Actually, I don't know if any of them are labeled from our perspective.
Are they not? They should be.
No, I don't see any labels.
Oh, for Pete's sake, Roll20. Why? Because they have a nameplate on them. I'm looking. Why?
Well, they don't always get shown to players, right?
Okay.
Like
So, do you see the clocks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I assume so.
Okay.
Yeah. There's
but like
7
there's
of
a
them?
nameplate where I can click to either have the nameplate show or not show, and I have it set to show, and there's ugh. Okay, fine. Here it is. See, now I have to do that manually with each individual one. What a dumb setting. Anyway, certainly thanks for telling me you didn't see that, because I assumed you did. But the point is that even with, are you seeing these name tag plates go on as I do this? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
The point being that I am going to do rolls to see how much progress they might be making towards their own ends on all of this, right? And so that's part of what's called the trouble engine. And then also we will roll on tables for the crew trouble, which is going to see what sorts of complications might arise based on how much heat you have. And now that you've just reduced it, you probably reduce the severity of any complications you might encounter that way. And then we'll roll on some tables to see if there's other local trouble involved, or if there are any other escalations that start to arise. And then from there, we would do the planning meeting. So I think that perhaps next time we start with those, the trouble engine. I will probably do all of that offline and then just report on how that has developed. And then we'll do the planning meeting at the start of next session. Sound good?
Sounds great.
I'm just laughing because one of them is literally labeled ticking time bomb.
That's the one I'm staring at.
Yeah. Well, if it helps at all, that in this case is a mechanic name as opposed to like a literal
Oh,
ticking time bomb.
okay.
But what it does mean is a big, serious problem that is getting worse and worse and worse, and you're going to have to do something about it. So may as well be a ticking time bomb
Yeah.
if it's not, even if it's not literally a actual bomb with a ticking clock on it.
So at some
Got it.
point, though, we're probably going to get a clock that says ticking time bomb.
Yeah.
No, really.
I mean, it probably would not shock you to imagine that maybe Blue Raker 5 is involved. But it doesn't
Indeed.
necessarily mean like a literal, like, you know, bundle of dynamite with a little alarm clock wired to it, right? It's just, you know. Also, for that matter, not that it would necessarily spoil anything, but there is in the Quick Start book some of this material that I'm giving you. So I would say, like, there's a ticking time bomb section. I would say, don't read that section.
Okay.
But that's it. Like, even if you did, it's not necessarily going to tell you what's really going on, because all of that's partly being actually determined by how we roll dice and everything. It's really just like starting conditions and things that could happen. But in any case, we will find out what will happen when we return for more Blade 68 on so many levels.
So
So many
many
clocks.
levels.